This is Ken. Welcome to the As the Leader Grows podcast with Ken Joslin. Again, I am Ken. I am your host. Man, listen, you're in for a treat today. I've got a couple of friends of mine from around the country who were former attorneys, and they've been saved and delivered from that lifestyle. And now they formed a group with a couple other partners who help business owners organize, strategize their business to be able to take it to the next level. Casey, Nick, what's up, guys?
Hey, Ken, thank you so much for having us.
Ken, this is great. Honored to be here. Thanks, Ken.
Hey, Casey, why don't you take a second and let everybody know a little bit more about who you are personally, what you guys have got going on, and then Nick, like we said just a minute ago, we'll let you bounce right off of that, man.
No, it's great, Ken. Thank you. My name's Casey Berman. I'm here in San Francisco and with Nick in New York and our other partner JD down in Miami. But great to be here. We are BAM and Company, BAM. Those are our names. They call us the BAM Boys. And, you know, I always joke I was a Jewish kid who didn't like blood. So I didn't go to medical school. I went to law school. That's about as far as I thought about it. But I realized that it wasn't for me after 5 years of practice. Went into management consulting and ended up in a great role helping a lot of Fortune 500 companies, Microsoft, you name it, really grow and all of that. And what we're doing now is taking a lot of the learnings from Fortune 500, the stuff they've done well, the stuff they haven't done well, and, you know, bringing a lot of this to solopreneurs and content creators in the creator economy and, you know, really helping small companies grow and scale. And most importantly, really helping business owners have time with their families, grow their business, kind of become their ideal self and all of that. So a lot of business coaching. And as one client called us, he said, we're his business therapist. So it gets personal. It's good.
I love it. That's awesome, dude. Nick, what's up, man? Talk to me.
Yeah, Ken, how are you? Yeah, you know, you talk about being saved, and really, I mean, that's kind of my personal journey for how I got here, right? So I was a litigator for 14 years and was having marital problems, and we were in a really dark place. So we went to therapy and started talking to the therapist about sort of our families of origin. And, you know, the therapist said, hey, you know, anyone ever tell you your mom sounds like she's kind of mentally ill, maybe has narcissistic personality disorder? I thought, you know, my brother's a psychiatrist. He would have mentioned that, right? So I talked to my brother. He says, dude, I told you that maybe 10 years ago. I was like, oh boy, all right. So I start doing some deep diving on the internet and find support groups actually for children who were raised with parents with narcissistic personality disorder. And one of the things that narcissists do often is a sort of a way to control people is to really, you know, get them to buy in that what you need to do is what I say. And really, that's how, you know, you start understanding that the voices in your head, right? Everything you think about, the way you view the world, it's all through your parents' lens, right? Mm-hmm. Because your subconscious, it's developed between the ages of 0 and 4. So when I sort of started understanding this and realizing this, it's really, you know, it was my mother's dream to be a lawyer, not mine, right? Those thoughts weren't my own. And really coming to that realization and how that actually has impacted everything in my life, including my marriage, and be able to really think through, okay, so what are the things that I actually like? What are the things that I actually want to do, right? I mean, Ken, you were talking about, you know, that dichotomy between the visionary and the integrator. And it's really, if you don't have that self-awareness, if you don't have that sort of capacity to really look and analyze and say, oh, okay, you know what? This is stuff I don't want to do. And it's not because I'm lazy. It's because this isn't aligned with who I am. And it's really then making that pivot. So I made that pivot to management consulting. And then, you know, I also have a couple of, you know, online e-commerce plays going. And one of the things that I realized, or what I saw anyway, was that there's a lot of talk amongst sort of professional business coaches who, you know, will talk to small businesses, entrepreneurs that really just focus on, hey, listen, let's just make some money, right? Let's all just get in this and make some money. You run some ads. Here's something I did. It works. You do it. It works. And, you know, what I really realized was there are a lot of parallels between sort of what the Fortune 500 companies are having trouble with and what entrepreneurs are having trouble with. And you know, number one with a bullet was execution, right? Fortune 500 companies struggle constantly with getting teams aligned to execute. And the thing that I was having a conversation with Casey about is that really, is it a problem of execution, Or is it a problem not understanding what good strategy looks like? What does a good framework for how to execute look like? And that was kind of the place that we started and really started thinking through, okay, well, how do we bring not only what we know, but ourselves, right? The ability to make that change, the ability to transform, understanding how to develop that courage, right? To make those changes in business when really the business is your baby. And so that's what we're on a mission to do, right? We're on a mission to get people to understand that great execution is a byproduct of excellent strategy and excellent planning. And we're able to bring that to entrepreneurs and really just see them really flourish. So that's what we do. That's a little bit about me.
Let me ask you a question. Why do you think, and I don't know if you guys are much of Simon Sinek fans or Pat Lencioni.
Oh, yes.
Five dysfunctions of a team, the advantage of a team player. But in the advantage, one of the things that Pat talks about a lot in there is clarity. And as a matter of fact, I think he's got 4 or 5 like components of I'd maybe say clear vision, but of vision and of strategy. And the number one thing that Pat says is there's just not clarity. So why do you guys think, and you guys can answer this, hey, whoever wants to answer can answer. Why do you think businesses struggle with, they've got vision, they've got the picture painted. Why do you think they struggle so much with strategy on the how to and not the why?
So Nick, you want to,
no, go ahead.
Yeah. So one thing that we see, it's a great question. And so one thing is they don't do their strategy. So a lot of them jump in and they go into tactics and they want to get something done and they don't say no. And so one thing that we've seen, and Ken, we talked with you and you've got a great strategy in place. You kind of have your North Star. What we see is a lot of companies don't have their North Star. They don't have that vision in place. There's a great book about I think we told you, and it's something that inspires us, which is will it make the boat go faster? It's a story of the 2000 Sydney Olympics, the British crew team. And they really had this mantra that was enabled them to say, no, we'll go into the pub, make the boat go faster as we train. No. All right. We won't go to the pub. Well, exercising. Yes. Right. And so a lot of companies don't have that will to make the boat go faster. They don't have it. And we'll come in and say, hey, what's your vision? It's touchy feely. I don't know, Casey. I don't know, but no one's aligned. I mean, when you think about America and the vision we have in this great country, right? It could be life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I mean, think of what God bless America. Think of, instilling democracy, whatever it is. Americans, we've all bought in, whether right or wrong, we've all bought into a vision, and that kind of keeps us going and so on. So it's similar with a company. And so I think first off, a lot of companies don't even have that vision, Ken. They don't have the strategy, and then it doesn't cascade down from there. The ones that do, it's murky, and here's the kicker, I think, it doesn't align with the business founder. It's just kind of paying lip service to it. They're not really doing it. So I think really how I'd answer that question is, one, they don't have that clarity. They don't have that vision. They think they do. And then two, sometimes it's just not authentic. They're not really bought in, even though they say they do. I've had this myself with big companies, and we've done it with the solos, like literally tears are coming out of people's eyes. I know it's a little woo-woo, but tears are coming out where they're like, yes, that's what we do, and I know and I've had it in my life where I'll end this, Ken. You don't know it, you feel it, right? And some people will say, I don't know what we're doing. And I'll say, I don't want you to know what you're doing. Feel what you're doing. And we know it. We know as athletes when you're in the zone or you're performing and you're like, I don't know what came over me, right? I mean, Ken, you get that way, right? When you're talking. Oh, yeah. So I think a lot of people don't have that clarity because they're maybe too intellectual. They're not feeling it. Or also they just haven't even done the effort to get a North Star going.
One of the things you said just a minute, and I'll let you jump in this.
Yeah.
One of the things you said was, is you're talking about when it's almost like you can't see the forest for the trees. Told you guys I hired a consultant to come in a few weeks ago. And one of the questions I asked her, we talk about a certain situation, and she went through her whole spreadsheet of, I don't know, top 50 things in a business broken down by different departments, and we'd answer questions and we get done. And I'm like, she goes, okay, we got to do this. I go, yeah, I know that. Well, and she goes, well, we need to do this here. And I go, yeah, this is the same stuff I tell other business owners. And she said, Ken, she goes, not even the world's greatest heart surgeon operates on themselves. You have to have another gifted heart surgeon operate on your heart. And I was like, oh, like the light bulb went off for me when she said that, because it makes the answers I was getting from her were answers I already knew, but I needed to hear it from a different voice and from a different angle to hit a facet in my heart or in my business. So I would have kind of that aha moment.
And Ken, what that says about you is put ego aside, but that means you're coachable. And you said, okay, I get it. And what it really did is it took it from the intellectual, I know this, consultant, stop wasting my time, to the visceral, right? Like it spoke to you and you said, oh, all right, I know it, but I need to feel it in a different way. LeBron, Steph, I'm a sports fan. LeBron, Steph, they all got coaches. They're all being told their mind wanders. They get off track, right? So why can't we have coaches?
I ran into, it's funny you said that, LeBron. I ran into my good buddy Richie Dolan the past week when I was in Vegas for my birthday. On this, it was the 7th. I ran into him on my birthday, and he was at the MGM. And I just happened to walk out of a thing, and he was on the Lakers team jet coming back. He just got his 3rd NBA championship ring. He works with LeBron. Him and Juwan Howard are best friends, and he had just got back, and they were working with the 1st-round draft pick kid for Toronto.
Yeah,
he was there with him. But you're talking about mindset. Even the best of the best have to have somebody like a Richie, or have to have somebody like a who came in.
Like Steph even said, he turns off social media. I mean, their minds get distracted. Someone says something bad on social media. Even Steph and LeBron and all of them can be distracted, right?
If I could shoot it like Steph, bro, I'd be talking trash to everybody on the internet. But anyway, go ahead, Nick.
Well, no, it's interesting. I think that so some of it, or the missing piece around clarity, some of it is that they think they have a vision, but it's not written down anywhere. No one else in the company knows that there is a vision, right? That's one part of it. The other subset of folks, I would say, have that vision, have communicated it out to the company, have maybe even explained why they think it's important, but then have mistaken their vision for strategy. And that's the piece that I see all too common in the entrepreneur space, because there are so many folks out there saying you need a vision, you need a why, you need a why. So they do it, right? They just make it. There's no real structure to it. There's no way to then take that vision and make it into a strategy. And strategy is really a coherent set of activities that drive that vision, right? But you can't create that coherent set of activities if you don't have an overall strategy to how are we going to get to that vision, right? So you can create the vision. And the way that I like to think about it is the vision is your destination, right? So let's say that, I'm just outside of New York. So my vision is to get to New York City, right? If I just start walking, right? And, my strategy is I'm getting to New York City. Well, I haven't really planned any kind of strategy. I just know I'm going that way, right? So there's a coordinated set of activities that could get me to New York in a faster way, in a costly way, in an inexpensive way. But there are a host of different things that I could do, right, to get myself there. The problem is, I think people stop after the vision, and they start then into tactics, and they start saying, okay, great. I want, my goal for this business is to generate $100 million in revenue, right? That's great. So you can call that your vision if you want. All right. So just start working on it. Just let's get going. Let's keep making revenue, right? Revenue is the only thing I'm going to focus on. When if you really thought about it and you sat down and did some planning sessions, you would realize that, I have several different strategic pillars and strategic things that I need to get to. I need to take these hills in order to win the war, right? And I think that's the kind of piece that people miss within clarity, right? And, to your point, this isn't simple stuff, right? And it's not easy stuff. I mean, again, 1st-round draft pick in the NBA, he needs work, right? I mean, he's still in the NBA. He's a professional basketball player, still needs work, right? Same is true in business. You can be an entrepreneur. You can, be having those 7-figure months. It doesn't mean that you don't need a little bit of coaching or a little bit of help. And that's where we can come in.
You talk about the teachability thing, and I know this, I don't want to get off topic a ton on what you guys are doing and what you provide for people. And I don't know that I've ever shared this publicly, but I'll share it with you now. We were actually going out to dinner with Richie at Fontainebleau in South Beach for his birthday, I believe, last year. And we were going to be in a room of some very high profile people. When I say high profile people, at least one billionaire. And I pulled Richie aside before we left and I said, listen, I said, I never want to be the guy in the room that don't know what he don't know. I said, if I am, I need you to pull me aside and let me know. Because I just knew I was going into an atmosphere that I had never been in before. And I just did not want to be that guy. And I think teachability, that's what we have 5 core values at GSD. And one of those is teachability. We're not only open to feedback, but we actively pursue feedback. So that one thing, why do you guys think it's difficult for people to be self-aware or to be teachable?
Well, I think it's because there's this mentality that there's a one size fits all, right? And I think that this has been perpetuated through some really good marketing and some really great messaging from some folks in the space that are maybe less than ethical, right? And today, they tout in big, bold red letters, this is my system. It works for everyone. No matter what you're doing, it's going to work. This is some horse dookie, but anyway, I just think that this is the problem, is that people don't want coaching necessarily. They say they want coaching, but what they want is a drag and drop, plug and play system that will allow them to go drink Mai Tais on the beach and make $10,000 a month. I think the messaging is clever. I think it makes these coaches a lot of money, but I think it kind of poisons the well, because then what people end up looking for is, well, can you give me the solution? I hope so. I mean, that's what we'll work together on, but it's not me doing it, right? This is your business that you're going to need to work on and really develop your own mark on it. And we can help you with frameworks, with different ideas from different places, but we may also tell you, don't do things, right? And this is the differentiator for us, I think, is that there are so many coaches, so many people, so many consultants that will come into businesses and say, this looks great. Yeah, you want to do that? Let's do that. That'll be $15,000 a month for me to help you do that thing, right? And it may very well be that the thing that this person wants to do is going to ruin their business. Right. But hey, that's what they want to do, right? And so, but we come in and we really work with folks on a one-on-one basis where we understand there is no one size fits all. We meet them where they are and try to get them to where they can be, right? And I think that the other issue with lack of coaching is, and Casey and I have run into this, it's the ego, right? It's the belief that, hey, you know what? I made $1 million last month. Ain't nobody telling me nothing, right?
Right.
That's the tough piece to get over, right? So I think there's a time in every entrepreneur's life, and I think all of us have been there, where you eat a little bit of crow, you get a little humble pie in you, and then maybe you're ready for some coaching. But that's kind of my take on that. Maybe
I love that, Casey. Let me ask you a question, Casey. You said this earlier. I think you're the one that said it. It's hard for visionaries and entrepreneurs to say no. Why?
Yeah, it's a great question, Ken. And there's a saying. A Zen saying I just learned, which is the learned man continues to learn, the wise man continues to unlearn. And I'm 47. I heard another quote by a very wise man, which said, the second half of your life is unlearning most, if not all, you learned in the first half, right? And I think a lot of people, when it comes to the unteachability, a lot of people come from it without a beginner's mindset. We know it. I know this is how it is. So even though I'm 40, I'm 47, I'm 50, I'm 55, I just know it. I want to be the expert in the room. If I'm the expert in a room, Ken, we're in trouble, right?
Wrong room, man.
Right, wrong room. So because I can learn anywhere, but also a lot of it is unlearning. So I think the reason people aren't teachable is they don't want to be teachable. There's some ego. They want to really show what they've known, as opposed to unlearning so that they can get something new. And I think to the point about not being able to say no, there is, I know it's with me, particularly being who I am and how I grew up and what I got from my parents. I've had this discussion with my mom. My mom's a people pleaser and I'm a people pleaser. And as attorneys, even though we're bulldogs and we fight and everything, many attorneys are people pleasers because they want more, they would want to keep the client, or that's just the personality. And I think a lot of people, a lot of business founders are people pleasers. And what that means is that your marketing, you want to go, you don't want to offend the marketing person, but really what it means is you're not selecting yourself. You are deselecting yourself. And what I mean by that is, you've got, it doesn't mean you're right, but there's another way. But you know what? I don't want to disappoint my parents. I don't want to disappoint my marketing people. I don't want Ken to look at me funny. I'm just going to go with the flow. Nik said this, and he's more brazen than I am. Maybe Nik knows what he's doing. Who am I? Right. And so I think a lot of reasons we say no is just kind of in the short term to please people and to keep the goodwill going. But I think longer term, it's sort of a notion that systemically I'm deselecting myself. I'm not choosing myself here.
Yeah, one of the things I talk about all the time, I call it the oxygen mask syndrome. You know, when you're on a plane, when you're on a flight and the flight attendant goes, hey, in case of loss of cabin pressure, oxygen mask can deploy. If you're with a child, put it on yourself. What people don't understand about that whole scenario is when you lose cabin pressure, it literally sucks the oxygen out of your lungs. So you only have a few seconds to be able to take care of you before you can take care of that child or somebody that's with you that needs help. Because if you don't take care of you, you can't take care of your organization. You can't take care of your business. You can't take care of the people that are around you. Nik, thoughts on that, man?
Well, yeah. And, I think that it's almost that mentality of, well, that's okay because I'll sacrifice myself to make money or to make this company happen, right? It's that hustle culture, right? Oh, man. No, ain't nobody gonna outwork me, right? So I'm gonna work until my wife leaves me, until my kids go to college, and until I've got nothing to show for all my hard work, right? If I couched it in those terms, everyone would run away from the hustle culture, right? But the messaging of the hustle culture is, if you outwork your competition, you will win. You will be the most successful entrepreneur that has ever lived, right? So if you say yes to every avenue, to every opportunity, then you get more at bats, right? And if with more at bats, that means that you're going to hit a home run. You just need more at bats, right? Our approach is, well, let's make sure they're quality at bats. Let's make sure that they're actually at bats that you really actually want, that are actually going to score runs, right? And really, let's do that analysis before we go in with pride and ego that says I can out hustle anybody. And let's actually do something that makes sense to do.
Yeah, I love that. Every time you say that, I think of Dave Kingman from way back in the day. It was he either hit it 500 feet or he literally would blow the infielders down with the wind from swinging and striking out. Babe Ruth the same way. I think he struck out more times than anybody in the big leagues. I mean, it was either feast or famine with those guys. Talk a little bit about some of the wins and some of the things that you guys have seen with your clients that you're working with currently, that would kind of connect the dots for people listening to or tuning into our podcast today.
Yeah, one that actually dovetails nicely out of what we were just talking about is we were working with this client, and he's a fitness pro. He does a lot of online fitness. He came up in the gym space, training individuals. So health and fitness is huge. He's an online coach in that space. He's doing great. And we're working with him on refining how he thinks about his business. And he came to us with this idea for a physical brick and mortar gym. And, it would be a space where, people could come work out and hang out in a community. And it was a lot of different things. And we heard him out and we sketched out the idea. And then, toward the end of the session, we said, let me ask you, how does this drive your vision forward? How does this align to the strategy that we've laid out for you previously? Long silence. Said it doesn't. It doesn't. So we said, listen, so we've got this great idea, but it's not what you really want to be doing. So should we do it? And he goes, no, we shouldn't. I have so many other things that I need to work on to actually drive to my strategic goal and really make my vision a reality, that this is a nice project, something really cool, but it's not for me right now. Right.
Yeah.
And that was a huge thing for him because he's never done that before.
I had a mentor who was a Georgia Tech graduate, sold his home on the lake here in North Georgia, about $4.5 million. Very wealthy family. I think his dad was CEO for either McDonnell Douglas or one of the big, airplane jet manufacturers for the military. he took me to lunch one day, and I'll never forget this. This is probably 97, 98. And we come back from lunch, we're sitting in the car, and he said, Ken, he goes, never forget, vision comes cheap to a visionary. Your responsibility is to figure out which one to go after. Mm-hmm. And because there is so many, when you're a dreamer, you're good at painting pictures and describing what it looks like and where you want to go. It's easy to, as Andrew said that day, vision comes cheap to a visionary. The hard part is figuring out which vision to go. I'll never forget it, man. The hard part is which vision to go after. Guys, the best way for people to connect with you, how can they find out about you guys? What does that look like?
So you can find me on Instagram with my full name, Nikhil, Nikhil. Last name is Agharkar, Agharkar. You can also find us at bamcoconsulting.com. That website is currently being built out. And Casey, your Instagram is the real Casey Berman, or
real Casey Berman, CASEYBERMAN, real Casey Berman. Find me on Instagram. More coming there, and check us out at Bamco. But yeah, Ken, this has been great.
I love it, guys. Any last thoughts? Casey, I'll let you go first.
Yeah, Ken, thank you again. Just honored to be here. Thanks for having this conversation. We love this. And last thought really to everyone listening is, we're talking vision, we're talking strategy. There's all these words being thrown out and so on. Make it simple. You have it in you. A lot of the work we do is literally chipping away at the stone, because you as the entrepreneur, as the business founder, you have it in yourself. A lot of people will say things like, you really, you did this was your idea. It's not my idea. It's not Nick's idea. You have it in you. And so it's really just finding that sandbox, that area that you feel comfortable, vulnerable, but also inspired, where the vision comes out. And then from there, it just flows, and being open to understanding that the projects, the tactics are fun and shiny object, but get that North Star in place and it all flows from there.
I love it.
Yeah. And Casey, I'd say, just to tag on to that, one of the things that clients will come to us with is, I have this idea, I want to execute on it, and we'll start working on that. But what we'll really end up working on is who are you as a person, and how does that then show up in your business? Because so many times what we've found is that the person is actually missing from their business. And this happened because, again, they've gone back to these wells of these, hey, I got this framework, I've got this system, I've got this button I push, right? But it doesn't fit with who they are, and it doesn't fit with who their business is. So we actually end up having to go back, because we're coming in to execute on, some project. What we have to actually do is then end up going back and saying, listen, you have these parts of your business, it doesn't really line up with who you are, it would seem. And we've had clients turn around and say to us, no one has ever described my business like you have, because that's everything that's in my head. Because it is you. Your business is a reflection of you, and we can help you kind of align that. Which is where
that vision comes from. Like everything you just described, Nick, really is the unpacking. You're talking, both of you guys are talking. I'm like, literally, you're almost going into who they are and mining for the gold that is there. Like, let us help you find.
That's exactly right.
People ask me all the time, Ken, what's your superpower? I have two things. Number one, I'm a connector. I love connecting people. Number two, I love helping people connect with the purpose that's on the inside of them that they may or may not know is even there. The untapped potential and untapped purpose. And literally walking them through the process that you're talking about, Nick and Casey. It is. You're helping them not only mine and define what the vision is for their individual life.
And Ken, a lot of that to really go there is self-worth. Who am I? Who am I to be a millionaire? Who am I to run a big business? Who am I? Yeah, purpose. I get it, Ken. I get it. But like, really, for me, my parents told me this, or I'm a Jewish kid, or I'm a this kid, or I'm a this. Right. And, it's really unpacking that and showing it. But boy, there are nuggets of gold just inside all of us. So,
yeah, that's amazing. Nick, you back?
I am. I don't know what happened.
Okay.
Zoom crash.
Yeah, we lost it real quick. Guys, listen, thanks so much for being a part of today, man. Appreciate you guys. I'm super grateful for you guys. Obviously, everything you guys are doing with the clients you're with Anthony. It's, again, super grateful. Anthony and I are going to be doing some stuff together. I think in our boot camp in
Okay.
Vegas coming up in about 5 or 6 weeks, actually about 7 weeks, October 1st and 2nd. So looking forward to that.
Big shout out to Anthony who introduced us. So
Yeah.
so grateful. Thank you, man.
Yeah, if you guys aren't following Anthony Trucks, it's at Anthony Trucks podcast. Makeshift happen. Actually, I've been on there. I'll post it on my Instagram story for you guys right now. You guys can swipe up and listen to Anthony and I talk as well. Guys, Casey, Nick, thank you so much for being a part of today. Guys, thank you for joining us today for another episode of As the Leader Grows, where we help business professionals build confidence, gain clarity, and create community. Tomorrow, going to be back with my good friend, Josh York from Gym Guys, one of the fastest growing gym franchises in America. It's going to be a great time. Look forward to seeing you guys then. Thanks. Guys, thanks a ton,
Awesome.
man.
Hey, Ken, thanks for having us, man. That was great.
Man, had a blast.
That was great.
Had a blast.
Yeah. And I mean, listen, even after our own session, we met with Nate and kind of really reconfigured how we're thinking about explaining
right.
what we do, right?
Yeah.
Because I think the interesting thing from that and the takeaway from those sessions is just really that we aren't good at really explaining our models on that personal level, right? Because what we've been used to, right, is to come in and approach it from a pure numbers